Over the past year, we have seen numerous Cartoon Network shows migrate over to Adult Swim. First, it was Unicorns Warriors Eternal and My Adventures with Superman. Not only were these intended to air on Cartoon Network, but at least in the case of Unicorn, it was meant to air on their weekend Acme night block in particular. A block that's geared towards more mature audiences. Not full-on adult, but think high schoolers and college students. The same kind of demographic that definitely watches Adult Swim, but Acme Night's a bit more tame, airing blockbusters such as Godzilla vs. Kong, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and the 1993 Mario Bros. Movie, what the hell? However, since this block initially launched in 2021, Cartoon Network has definitely lost the plot, ditching their plans to air new programming during this time, and instead basically using it as filler until Adult Swim comes on. It seems like when those plans fell through, they opted to just air these shows on Adult Swim instead. And while I don't think we're gonna get a second season of Unicorn anytime soon on account of it being, mid, My Adventures with Superman has definitely made itself home at Adult Swim, now premiering on the Saturday night Toonami block, where it probably should have been in the first place. They even kinda call it out.
Lois, Jimmy, and the Man of Steel are...
right back where they belong.
Tom? We showed My Adventures with Superman last season.
Yeah, but not the premieres.
But since this happened last summer, Adult Swim hasn't just double dipped. I can't even say they triple dipped. They are quadruple dipping with the Cartoon Network shows, jacking a lot of the classics from Cartoon Network such as Dexter's Lab, Billy and Mandy, Edda and Eddie, and Samurai Jack, just to name a few, and airing them to usher in Adult Swim's new starting time of 5 p.m. with a lineup they dub Checkered Past. But it seems like Adult Swim isn't done calling dibs on Cartoon Network shows anytime soon, as another one of their new, highly anticipated series is now heading towards Adult Swim when it was initially slated for CN. I am of course talking about Invincible Fight Girl. And honestly, I'm really not surprised. Like Unicorn, this show was announced years ago, only to have absolute radio silence ever since. But it seems like the show is almost ready for broadcast after all of this time. The first episode is now being screened around at animation events. And from these events, reports have been coming out that the show is actually airing on Adult Swim. And it's not like people are running to the internet like, oh my god, it moved to Adult Swim. But rather, it was mentioned offhandedly. And it's the freaks like me who noticed and went, oh, word? However, without any word from the creator or any press release to go off of, people treated this as rumors and nothing more. As far as we were concerned, this was still airing on Cartoon Network. But that all changed when Chorus Entertainment, a Canadian mass media corporation that's running Adult Swim and Cartoon Network over in Canada, unveiled their 2024 to 2025 slate. Scroll down to Adult Swim and you'll see that they plan on rolling out Rick and Morty the anime, Kite Man Hell Yeah, a Harley Quinn spinoff, Creature Commandos, another DC show that I'm really excited for, Common Side Effects, which I haven't really heard of before this, but my judge is involved, so I'll definitely give it a shot, and, wouldn't you know it, Invincible Fight Girl, confirming that it's at least airing in Adult Swim Canada this fall at the earliest. Suddenly, those reports that it's airing on Adult Swim over here is looking a lot more credible, because I don't see any reason for them to air it on Adult Swim over in Canada unless they're doing it over here. Which means another show produced for Cartoon Network won't actually be airing on Cartoon Network. What is going on? Craig of the Creek is on its way out. We Baby Bears is dropping episodes once in a blue moon, and they only just now started airing the new Total Drama Island. You know, the highly anticipated revival that aired both of its 2 seasons last year in international countries. And they had the nerve to tell the Total Drama crew that the ratings for the United States premieres will determine a renewal for the show. Talk about a complete and utter setup. It only brought in like 110,000 viewers, by the way. Good for the current state of cable, but I don't know if that's gonna warrant another season. Let's just hope the numbers over on Max are a lot better. It really seems like Cartoon Network is left with nothing. We know they have a new Gumball on the way, but unless they bring over Fiona and Cake or any other Adventure Time content from Max, Gumball and Teen Titans Go is kind of all they have right now. Though, judging by how Paramount is letting Fairly OddParents and now Beavis and Butthead continue on television instead of streaming, I think it's only a matter of time before we see the end of streaming exclusivity for these shows altogether. But back to Invincible Fight Girl, and really all of these shows that have been moved to Adult Swim. What is going on? Why are they doing this? Well, I believe there are a few factors at play. The first one being, from what we've heard before, airing on Adult Swim is more or less saving all of these shows from never getting released, and instead remaining in the Warner Discovery archives, forever. And I think that in itself has to do with Cartoon Network's identity crisis. Over the last few years, they've wanted to pivot into preschool, only for that to not really pan out, since, toddlers don't watch cable? Duh! And it seems like by the time they came to that realization, Cartoon Network Studios itself was doomed, destined to get slowly absorbed into Warner Bros. Animation, which is what's been happening over the last year. We've already been over this, they lost their studio, they have very little Cartoon Network shows in production. It's rough out here. Cartoon Network doesn't know what to do with them, they're getting their priorities in check. So instead of these shows collecting dust, they're being let loose on Adult Swim, while also being made available and streaming the very next day on Max. Cartoon Network as well, a network, seems to be very focused on episodic comedies. For now, they want that to be their brand, because evidently, those are the shows that can go on forever. And in an era where it feels like studios only want to go for guaranteed hits, action dramas like Invincible Fight Girl just don't fit in the picture. But aside from that, right now we live in a moment where Adult Swim is bigger than Cartoon Network. It blows it out of the water in viewership. They already have more adults watching Cartoon Network than kids. And if I'm being honest, I just think Cartoon Network kinda damaged its reputation over the last few years, going from the network that makes shows for everyone of any age to, well, a kids network that feels kiddie. And this wasn't in just the programming, but the packaging as a whole. Even in 2018, 2019, the bumpers just didn't have the sauce that they used to. It felt like a channel that was trying to pivot into preschool, even if the programming was gunning for teenagers and young adults. So I imagine if you're a teenager or adult with Max, and you have an interest in animation but you don't have an interest in modern Cartoon Network, you're gonna be more inclined to go to the Adult Swim hub. So I think it's smarter to put these shows that are aiming a more mature audience in front of the more mature audience by placing it in the Adult Swim section instead of the Cartoon Network section. Like Unicorn and Superman's target audience probably wouldn't have found it on streaming if it was grouped in with We Baby Bears and Teen Titans Go. They just wouldn't have clicked on the Cartoon Network section because it no longer interested them. And sure, maybe you'll go to that section for nostalgic purposes, but I still think the Adult Swim hub overall is getting more traffic thanks to the existence of Smiling Friends and Rick and Morty, both of which are massive shows that are regularly rolling out new seasons. And I think this applies to television as well. The target demographic for those shows are probably going to catch an ad if said ad is airing during Adult Swim, but of course they wouldn't advertise that show unless it was airing on Adult Swim. I think you get the picture. Cartoon Network and Adult Swim have always been two sides of the same coin, but now they're putting more eggs in Adult Swim's basket, while Cartoon Network has some much needed maintenance. Are we ever gonna see more original animated series make its way to Cartoon Network over the next few years? I hope so, but as long as they're scrambling like a chicken with its head cut off, I feel like Adult Swim is gonna continue to hold down the fort. But as always, these are just my thoughts, and I would love to hear yours. What's your take on Invincible Fight Girl moving to Adult Swim? Does this make you any more excited for the series? Are you annoyed that it's evading its original home, or are you just glad it's getting released either way? Let us know in the comments down below, and keep the conversation going over on Twitter and Instagram at OstricFox and at RoundtableVids. If you enjoyed this video, please sure to like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. See ya!